Okay, so welcome everyone. We're here today for 45 minutes to talk about PowerShell for Kubernetes administrator. My name is Fabien Dibot, but first of all, I would like to thank our sponsor, and I invite you to go to the booth and speak with them, grab some goodies, and discuss with them. So, I'm Fabien Dibot. I'm French. I live in Brittany. It's our flag, the Grenadou, so west of France. I'm cloud solution architect at Microsoft. I'm a huge fan of cloud computing and automation. I spend my days working with Kubernetes, Azure Function, web app, doing cloud native application and so on. So obviously automation is one of my favorite tools. I'm a father of 2 boys and I'm really happy to be there after 2 years, staying at home, meeting real people. That's good. So thank you for you to be there today. So the goal of this session is to use PowerShell to enhance first kubectl, which is the binary to administrate your Kubernetes cluster, and after that we'll see other options about how to leverage it and to create objects to be able to manage at scale our cluster without using GQ or stuff like that. If you are working, first question, who is familiar with Kubernetes here? Oh, cool. So I won't spend so much time on this slide. Just to recap and to make some context, here you have a common Kubernetes and high-level architecture. Today we will focus about how to administrate all this bunch of stuff. So I won't spend time on API server and control manager, what is a worker, what is kubelet, kubeproxy, and so on. We will just focus about how we can use kubectl and leverage it to grab information and to push information to my API servers. So why did I decide to go to this journey? First of all, is to manage at scale my object inside my cluster. My customers have thousands of nodes, hundreds of thousands of pods, and so on. And when it comes to troubleshoot, application deployment which is not working, it can be really, really long to go deep and use kubectl to find the good answer. Second thing is help me to automate some administrator tasks, like find some information in log at scale on all my pod and so on. As I said, application troubleshooting is mostly done through kubectl, at least for me. I know in a correct world, in a perfect world, we will have a log concentrator like ELK, like Sentinel, like log analytics to grab those logs and do analysis. But in real life, I don't see so much a log concentrator at customer. But I have one problem. I had one problem, is that kubectl only return text. I mean, you can pass it to JSON and use GQ to do some request on it, but it's basically text. And me, I like object because I'm doing some PowerShell. But what is cool here is that kubectl can expose JSON or YAML, as I said just before. First demo there. Yeah, my screen is there. So first thing interesting to understand and to know about how to use kubectl for authentication is that you have a config file in your profile which will store information about your cluster. Come on. So here you have your cluster name, the cluster, your administrator, your API server, sorry, and a bunch of certificates to authenticate to your cluster. You need this file to be able to use kubectl to reach your cluster API. So to download it, you have multiple ways to do that. If you work with AKS on Azure, you use Azure CLI to download it easily. So, if you're working with kubectl, the basic one, you just have to put the binary in your path and use kubectl and grab some information from your cluster, kubectl get node, and basically, if I don't, I still have Wi-Fi, so it's working. If you want to get your pod running in your cluster, you grab your pod, specify the namespace, and you will get all your pod running. So my cluster is pretty old. I have an application which is kubeflow running inside, but I mean, this is not the purpose of this session. So here, I have a bunch of information that I can grab. And one of my favorite commands in Kubernetes is this one. I don't know which. Yeah, let's grab this one. It's kubectl describe, which is usually like daily to understand what is going on inside my pod, what events are attached to my pod. So describe pod. Something. So here I have a bunch of information. I won't pass through everything, but this is clearly useful. What you need to understand what is going on inside your pod and how you can fix them. I don't have any events there, so it's working really fine. So, but here nothing is, you can't grab everything and pipe it to another command. It's not possible to do that with kubectl because it's text output. So community for Kubernetes community did things pretty well, because if I do that, I think it's that you have the same, information, but as a JSON. So here, I can use PowerShell to create an object using this JSON X output. Sorry. So to do that, what did I do? Yes, I'm on correct branch. I create a bunch of function and put them inside a module. So that's really, it's very easy to do that. I think everyone in this room already, use PowerShell to pass some exe and do some execution. So here I'm gonna load this module. So yeah, I should upgrade my cluster, but I don't care. So now I can have the same interesting things. Get Kubernetes node. But now I'm working with objects, meaning I can pipe everything and do some stuff, whatever you want, with a nice format. Yeah. So if I do kubectl get node or while, I have nearly the same, export. So if your other administrator won't be surprised. They will find the same result using both PowerShell and kubectl. You can do what did I implement like command? I can get services. Sorry, oops. So I retrieve the same information that I have from my kubectl command line. What is interesting there is that, I'm sorry, oops. Okay. Is to be able to do that, I needed to export as JSON, but also to parse the result and to do some object transformation, to have some nice output and to be able to export it as a PowerShell object. Why it's important? Because for the next part, I will try to use Crescendo for that. For that module, and using Crescendo, I will need this output formatting that I already built for this parser. So this is good, but not enough. I think parsing binary file is like, the whole world. We need this binary to be installed, or at least to be downloaded on my laptop or your server. And PowerShell team just bring a cool module called Crescendo. Anyone heard about Crescendo? Okay, cool. Anyone practice with Crescendo? Okay. So basically, Crescendo is quite easy to use. It's like, you create a JSON file, which is, basically you put the exe you want to parse, the command you want it to execute, classical one. For each command you want to add, you specify a little description, a synopsis, some example. It will generate you help file also. You specify also, obviously, the platform where your module you want to run. And after that, for each of this command, you can define a bunch of parameters that will be present for your commandlet to specify. Here, what is interesting is that you will have the same parameter or the same option in your classical script, meaning that Crescendo will use this to format your module, and you will be able to specify some mandatory parameter, some type for your parameter, even some position in your command line. There is also a possibility to specify, if I go to describe, the describe command. Yeah, if you go to this command, which is quite, more complex to parse, you have to specify, the name of your parameter you will have to pass. But if a command from the start didn't have any, parameter, it's basically the value that you pass to this command line. You are able to not specify this parameter name and match it to a PowerShell parameter for your commandlet. So this is good, but not well documented. So I did pass some time to discover that. So let's see how it works. Remember that just before that, I said that I did most of the job with my previous work on the basic parser, let's call it like that, creating the output from each command. So here, what did I do? I just took my previous output object with my conversion. I create the object there, and after that, it's just a for each loop to get information and to make it in a nice way to create my object. So I did that for my pod, for my node, for my namespace, my service, and so on. So here, where is the magic? Here, the idea is just to I'm not in the correct folder, so let me just change this folder. Is it big enough? Yeah? Okay. Oops. So I will outsource my parser.ps1 file just to have as a function available for my Crescendo to build the module. Okay, so all my functions are now loaded in my PowerShell session, and after that, I just will create the module using one command, which is export Crescendo module, blah, blah, configuration file. So I will just pass the JSON file that I described just prior to that, meaning all my commandlets will be there, and the module name I wanted to create. So it's really simple to use, right? No magic. It's just a magic behind. You don't have to do anything, and it will pass it for you. So now my module file are created, And if you look at the PSM1, you have some class here, you have your function, and they create it for you using the verb and noun. You just put in the JSON file. You have it's not really optimized. You have many things that you may not need, but I mean, it does the job for you. And now, if I'm loading this module, up. Yeah. What the fuck? I don't need private. I know why. Because I'm relying on private function. Sorry. It's because of. Let me check. It's because of. Strange. I don't have any reference to that. Okay. Bon, bah so.
It's because you went back into the old folder and used the old files that were in the Crescendo folder.
No, because I don't have any private folder in my.
You went back to the root. You're not in the Crescendo folder anymore.
I'm sorry?
Go into the next Crescendo folder.
This one?
Yeah, because you exported there.
Great. Yeah, I was loading another module. Thank you, guys. So now I should be able to retrieve the same command as before. Without doing almost any PowerShell to create this module. So that's a nice idea. I do like the fact that if you don't have any other way that passing on as a file, it's really interesting stuff. But not sexy at all, I think. So next step in my journey to say, okay, I need that PowerShell object to be able to automate my Kubernetes cluster. It was to search for a correct library, a .NET library, to be able to use it in my module. So I decided to take a look at how many official clients we do have. We do have only one for C#, which is maintained by Brendan Burns' team. So the guys are reliable on Kubernetes because they created it. One thing interesting is that we don't have any dependency with kubectl, so which is cool because I don't have any big, I think it's 300 mega to download, so it can be impossible on some environments. But there is some improvements that can be done on this library because it's not possible, for example, to use an external IDP to authenticate yourself. You are stick to use the kubeconfig file, which is not so good because you don't have, you are not able to use MFA, you are not able to use OIDC and build Airbag on top of your OAuth token. So. It's good because you will see that it's working really good and way faster than kubectl, but some improvement can be done. I will publish on my GitHub, this code after that. So if you want to fork to download, just want to try, and maybe do some pull request, some merge requests, you're fine. So let's go for the demo to see how it works. Huh? So here, let's open a new PowerShell. Okay, so now this is the. Where is my Visual Studio? Okay. Okay.
Very sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I will do some cleanup. because honestly, I don't need the main branch and the crescendo branch. I will just remove them and use this one. So it's a work in progress, obviously. Still a lot to do because kubectl has hundreds of commands with hundreds of parameters, with hundreds of possibilities, and so on. So it's not possible to cover everything by only one person, and each version there is new stuff added, and so on. So here, this is a different concept because to be able to use this library, we first need to load this library for sure. So for that, we need to load a bunch of NuGet package. And after that, firstly, you download that. After that, you load them. And finally, you add those library to your PowerShell station. But once you did that, so module can take quite a bit long to load for sure. But once you do that, you are able to work with this kind of cool, type, and create some objects that can be able to connect to your cluster without any kubectl, and this is where the magic is. I won't go through every line of code because we don't have time. We have only 30 minutes to discuss, and after it's Q&A. But one thing I discovered also playing with that library is that if you have multiple contexts in your config file, it's only taking the last one. Meaning, if you want to use to administrate multiple clusters, you have to use multiple config files, rename them, and reload them based on the name. So this is the first thing that I discovered, but interesting to see. Other interesting thing. Well, let me load the model first, and I will show you how it works. Okay. Hopefully this one will start. We'll load for the first time. So as I say, it's quite long to load because I have to download on my NuGet package. But during the load time, what can be interesting to see is that, for example, the describe command that I do have with the kubectl binary file is really complex to rebuild that one because it gathers information from everywhere and put it inside a nice output. So this command is not part of this module yet because I didn't have time to find where all information are located to put them into a nice command. Other thing that can be interesting to understand is that come on, guy, load. Good. So let's go to the cluster. So now what I will do is to connect to my cluster. So he will, sorry. So it's grabbing from the complete file. So now I'm connected. I have my token. I have my credential loaded, and now I can play. So to get all the pod, what did I do? What do? You define the client, you pipe it to your command. Yep. And now you retrieve the same using the SDK. And where the magic is that you are able to do that kubectl get pod, namespace, kubeflow. Oops. Forgot the client. So here, with a nicer format, you are able to retrieve the same information. One cool using this object is that you can access many other information inside your cluster, meaning you can multiply the source of information within the same command with something really fast to print on screen, and to be usable in another pipe, so to do whatever you want on it. So if I do that and for example, I take, I don't know, yeah, this one is good. So you are also able to get logs for a pod doing some in-sync web parsing, namespace, kubeflow. Hopefully this one will work. What the fuck? Okay. As I said, it's a work in progress. Some stuff are not working yet, but okay. Sorry for that, but basically it's getting all the load on the log using a web request to the API of Kubernetes behind. So it's really good. It's way faster than kubectl command. What can you do also? We can get all pod up on my cluster for the namespace kubeflow, and let's invoke a command on all of them at the same time, which is something quite difficult to do on your Kubernetes cluster if you are actually using it. And okay, sorry for that. I should have prepared my command in a text file first. So now what he will do, he will get all the pod inside my cluster, and after that on hpod do an ls command, just random command like that, and pass it. So as you see, I don't have I like 20 or 30 pods running in my namespace. So you can do stuff like that. On some container, you don't have the ls command available, so you will have some error. But basically, if you want to have, to be able to execute an audit command on all your pod to just see if everything is going on, everything is going okay for you, you have this possibility. Okay, I think we're good. Few lessons learned here. Obviously, you use SDK as much as possible when they are available, because it's way faster. It's 100 times faster. Playing with Kubernetes API can be tricky because you are working in async mode. So sometimes it's complex to get information back and to parse them in a nice way to be readable. This SDK has some big limitation because you can't use OIDC authentication and use OHO to do some role assignment and so on. So if your customer do wants, and they should use MFA and OHO to authenticate and OHO for role management, it will be complex. Another thing that is pretty bad and not supported yet is being able to switch between multiple contexts, because when you are working in production, you have obviously multiple clusters, so you have to manage it using multiple kubectl file. And the biggest thing that I had to handle is that kubelet has, it's not kubelet, let's fix that. It's kubectl. Yes, kubectl has more commands that you can imagine, and with many parameters. So if you want to parse everything and to recreate everything, it will take forever to do that. alone. So yeah, we're on time. If you have any question, please feel free to ask them. I will try to answer. Okay, cool. No question?
A lot of questions, maybe too many.
Yeah.
So, have you tried, for example, in order to manage multiple connections to the namespaces, to actually keep a connection using a certain config file and keep that as a separate connection so you can switch between them?
Between namespaces, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
As a connection object, but using different config files.
You mean connecting at multiple clusters at the same time?
Yeah.
No, I'm not crazy enough to do that, but it can be a good idea, yeah, for next, improvement. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. Thank you very much.